I do not know you, nor you me, but I honor you all the same. Anointed in Templar blood, you come to us. Give us the reason, the hope to rise up. The tormented one has spoken. Kitava, the immortal slave, understands our plight like no other. He speaks through you, warrior. He tells us that we shall be free. Utulamakora is what they call me, and I have the miserable task of being chief to this lot. Well, I put the steel in their hands. I tell them where to stab, where to run, where to die. If that doesn't make me a chief, what does, eh? Blood isn't the only currency we need to earn to buy our freedom. We can kill all the Templar mongrels we like out there. It won't matter a damn if we don't get inside their stronghold, the Templar courts. Might as well put my bloody chains back on right now. Problem is, there's some sort of witchery surrounding the place. Only those who see the truth with faithful eyes are getting in there. The power of innocence. It's all in the eyes, you see. Yet blessed Kitava has answered my prayers and sent us just the pair of eyes we need. The ever-faithful Justicar Casticus. He's there in the control blocks right now, smiting my people with self-righteous fury. Find him. Talakuda, Savior. Yes? Take a deep breath. Inhale the twin stink of exploitation and oppression. Yes, these pens and cells have been our home away from home since the first Karui were brought here by Marseus Lionai, their great hero of the Empire. One of the best slavers they ever had. Not that he was the only one. Captain Sigmund Fairgraves funded many an expedition of the whipped backs of Karui children. High Templar Dominus was only the latest in a long line of men to grow rich by trading in misery. Ariathan wealth was built on Karui poverty. Overseer's Tower, this place is called. Do you know the worst thing about the men who stood here, watching us, cursing us, descending to whip and kick us like curs? They were slaves, like us, willing to turn on their brethren for a bigger cage and a few extra rations. I can't quite put into words what a pleasure it was to take this tower, to rip the greedy eyes from those traitors. Did they see it coming? I hope so. Well, I know his other names. The Black Spirit, the Cannibal King, the Ravenous One. He was all of those things before Tsukuhama slashed out his eyes, before Valakor drowned him in the sea, before Hinekora whipped him and condemned him to immortal darkness. Kitava has learned from the suffering inflicted upon him, learned what cruelty is from his own flesh and blood, learned what it means to be a slave. Now he hungers for freedom, not merely for himself, for all of us who have suffered under whip and shackle. Kitava. Old Red Eyes. He's been quiet for a long time, just like Kitava and Tsukuhama, all of the old gods. Now innocence has woken up, and with him, power like I've never seen the Templar wield before. It's all right though. We slaves, we've got our own god looking out for us now. I can see him in the eyes of my brothers and sisters, smell him in the blood we've spilled, hear his call in the screams of the fallen. I don't rightly know where the gods have been or what's brought them crawling back, nor do I really. There's two parts to the Templar, the grim face and the spotty ass. Out front, you've got the Templar courts. Usually the last place our Hartungos see if they're stupid enough to preach their craft within a Templar's hearing. Oriath's woodmongers must do a roaring trade with that place. When the wind blows right, you can even smell the aroma of barbecued blasphemer from here. The arse end, that's the Chamber of Innocence. It's where the real earnest believing gets done. Where the young Templar go to pay their respects to God Almighty and get the good sins baptized out of their heads. I've not seen the inside of the chamber myself, but you can feel it from over a block away. Like there's an eye in your gut, peering through your insides, looking for even the tiniest stain of sin. With Dominus away in Рэklasta, someone had to keep the wheels of oppression turning. Avarius was only too happy to take the job. It had plenty of practice already, of course. It was Avarius who led some of the largest and most crippling raids upon the Ngāmakanui and the Ngākura. It was on his orders that men, women and children were shackled and shipped like cattle to Theopolis. And it was Avarius who spent 5,000 Karui lives building his Templar courts and his Chamber of Innocence. Who had wives and daughters scrub their husbands' and fathers' blood from the stones so as to preserve their purity. When you meet Avarius, for vengeance.
An exile returned? How was that even possible? And a Karui warrior too, descending from the sky to destroy our enemies like Tukohama in the stories my mother used to tell me. Well, your divine intervention gave us just the diversion we needed to take this tower. So if you keep doing things like that, then I might have to start believing in the gods again. And thank you for finishing off that last overseer for us. I don't know what sort of mother could have birthed that land-loving whale, but we were lucky he wasn't here when we took this tower. He'd have spread us across the floor like butter on a piece of bread. Here, take something for helping us in this hopeless fight of ours. We'd been planning it for months, spreading the word, stealing weapons, gathering support. Utula and his followers did most of the dirty work. I just carried a few messages here and there. Should have known I'd end up like this when the real fighting started. In the darkest hour before dawn, that's when we broke our chains. And as many overseer necks as we could wrap our hands around. We took the Panopticon as the sun rose over Theopolis, and that's as far as we got. When you're up against cold steel and colder hearts, there's only so far that anger will take you. Few of us can say that we've devoted our lives to anything greater than ourselves. Can you? I think Utula can. Since the day I met him, I've seen Utula do nothing that wasn't in the service of his people. He's a smart one. He could have escaped. He could have sailed off to Ngāmakanui and never looked back. Yet there he stands, our herald of freedom. I might die of this wound, yet I'd be giving but a fraction of what Utula has to honor the Karui way. For freedom.
Unlike these assorted ignorami, I'm not surprised to see you here. The beast is dead, all thanks to you, I suppose. I was listening to the beast's death rattles when these lunatics broke in, wrecked the place, and dragged me here to tend to their cuts and bruises. Thankfully, I was able to bring some of my paraphernalia with me. The balance of power is shifting in your favor, O murderer of nightmares. If I am in possession of anything that might smooth the transition of governance, don't hesitate to ask. You'll find my terms quite reasonable. Some time ago, I fabricated a device able to sense and amplify the corrupt murmurings of Рэklasta, a miasmeter. I listened to those whispers for years, lingering beyond sane comprehension. And then the scream. Such profound agony that my mind was nearly sundered by its percussion. I thought another cataclysm might be upon us. But no, it was you, slaying the beast. I was witness to a singularly potent cadence. This corruption, I am convinced that it holds the very key to our human history, and with it, our very existence. Yet without the miasmeter, in contrast to the company she keeps, Lani has quite an astute mind. I put it down to that Oriathan education she's managed somehow to procure. Whilst quelling whatever resistance you might meet in this noble coup of yours, you'd be well advised to look to Lani for counsel. She'd make the finest of advisors, second only to myself, of course. Utula might appear to conduct himself with honesty and honor, yet has all the telltale signs of a desperate man born of desperate times. As the cornered animal will bite and claw, the cornered man will lie, steal, and murder in the name of survival. It's understandable, and deadly if underestimated. I can't really fault Justicar Casticus. A man committed, heart and soul, to upholding the law. Of course, law isn't the same thing as justice, and men like Casticus lack the imagination necessary to make that distinction. Avarice, innocence. I'm not sure there's a great deal of difference. Around the time I heard the beast's mortal scream, the newly appointed High Templar Avarius went through something of a revelation. The manner in which he speaks and acts now would indicate that he believes, without doubt, that he is some earthly embodiment of God. That's faith for you. It'll reduce grown men to them. I gave piety everything, devoted my life to her work. What did that thankless bitch do for me in return? Left me here to polish her beakers while she pursued glory in Рэklasta. Oh. You killed her, did you? Likely as not, you'd have killed me too had I been there. In that case, perhaps we both got exactly what we deserved. Piety and I have devoted ourselves to the betterment of the human condition. As for our methods, Piety had a saying that summed it up nicely. Would you consider the feelings of the stones when constructing a glorious cathedral in the name of God? Casticus supplied us with slaves, mostly Kardui, and I put them to good use. In fact, I believe their participation in my experiments elevated them from squalor to splendor. Our subjects were able to give their otherwise meaningless lives to something greater than themselves. Tootles.
Talamoana. Lani's a pretty tough girl for a half-blood. Her mother was Karui, but her father, a lord with a nose for island flowers. Despite that Oriathan stain in her blood, Lani risked her life time and time again, slipping us the information that she bore between the lords and ladies of Theopolis. Honestly, couldn't have put the pieces of this uprising together without her. And she's a fighter, Struck down 2 overseers before a third managed to put that scratch on her. Don't worry, it won't slow her down for long. Not Lani. If it weren't for Lani, I'd have cut that bitch's throat the moment I met her. But Violenta seems to know her medicine, so she gets to live. Until Lani is better. Then Violenta will answer for her crimes against us. For freedom.
Yes? I'd be dead right now if not for Violenta. I just hope I live long enough to repay her. And how will I do that? By talking Utula out of his inclination to slice Violenta's throat open. As far as I'm concerned, our pasts are as broken as our chains. Remember, we do this for freedom.
Yes?
Yes. For freedom.
Cannot do this yet.
Tala. Ha! So you made just a Carcasstica see the light, did you? Couldn't have happened to a nicer fella. Yet now of an even charming chap for you to make the acquaintance of. He's over at the Chamber of Innocence, beyond the Templar Court. He's just dying to meet you. It's High Templar Various I'm talking about. Although he's so filled to the eyeballs with innocence that it's hard to tell where the man ends and the god begins these days. Well, that's good news for us. Kill the man, and you kill the god. And what are the Templar? Cura.
Thank you. By killing Casticus, you've given us a fighting chance. And about his eyes, I'm sorry you had to do that. Yet although Utula's solution might seem brutal, I've seen Karui men blinded with a hot poker, simply for looking a fraction too long at an Oriathan lady. Yes, this is war. And just a little revenge, too. Take something. A token of our thanks. Remember, we do this for freedom. Hello.
I simply can't express how wondrous it is to see you. What? No, not you, Exile. The miasmeter. The hope of humanity lies in this beautiful device and the precious knowledge it shall divulge. Far more useful than an accidental hulk of meat and instinct like yourself. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to discover that your slaying of the beast correlates directly to the strife we must currently suffer. At least you've proved useful enough to return the miasmeter to me. That deserves some small reward. Now, where was I?
Yes.
I cannot do this yet.
Greetings. When I was a courier for my father's house, I'd cross Cathedral Square 100 times in a day. On the fairest days, that square would be filled to bursting with Oriath's highborn, come to bask in the sun and each other's glowing nobility. It was a pretty sight, depending on where you stood. For freedom.
I cannot do this yet. I cannot do this yet. mana is gone.
The world must be cleansed of impurity. Kneel!
Innocence! You, and only you. I am Sin, the Forgotten One. Would that humanity could forget all of my kind. Perhaps with your help, that might still come to pass. For now, the blinding light has been dimmed, and darkness floods in to fill the void. The desperate and depraved set a feast for their lord incumbent, Kitava. Should Kitava accept their invitation, there is but one thin sliver of hope for us all. My brother's sign of purity. Look to it in the choking passages of Templar reverence. It shall be your torch when night falls at last. Deep in the Templar's ossuary, in the company of the dead, there lies the sign of purity. Innocence bled himself for the creation of that cruel and desperate weapon. Tempered in his own ruby ichor, it was forged to be a transcendent tool of punishment and purification. The sign is a living agent of righteousness, or at least the dubious kind of righteousness that my brother subscribes to. Innocence found in the first High Templar a most faithful servant, and gifted the sign to him so that it might be used in times of great need. The great need of Innocence believers, that is. Though I am a god, I have not forgotten my humanity. I care for that which I once was. Kitava remembers nothing and cares for nothing but his own hunger and greed. He is an endless pit of gnashing teeth and churning guts. While other gods rise on the mainland and fight for the meager scraps of what was, Kitava has the most fecund and formidable civilization of his age at his disposal. He can feed when he likes, and he grows ever stronger with each morsel. All of Oriath shall soon belong to Kitava, and if that happens, he will rise beyond even our reach. He lives, after a fashion. That pretentious little vessel of his served only to encourage his divine follies. I have procured him a more sensible host, one that should contain his excesses and temper that fragile ego of his. Hear this, brother. From mind of lead to heart of gold, your soul shall be bound, your wrath shall grow cold.
Hello. I told you so. What more need I say? The sign of purity, yes. A discry staff that piety sent me to study at one point. Apparently it was a gift from Innocence to the first High Templar, Maxarius. Dominus couldn't even bear to touch the thing, so he had it locked up in the ossuary. Quite reactive behavior for a man of such formidable intellect, yet now it's making a little more sense. The staff was certainly able to conduct and store energy, yet remained inert when I applied corruption to it. It must only respond to divine energy, and with corruption and divinity being diametrically opposed, it's no wonder that my experiments failed to excite the thing. Meaning, if the sign of purity is a repository for the power of Innocence, Dominus could never have wielded it, being steeped as he was in the opposing power of the beast. You, though. People have talked about the return of the gods since the birth of Oriath. It's a gambit employed by charlatans to fleece the weak-minded and morally desperate. Or so it seemed. Avarius and his Templar drones now greet the dawn filled with power and glorious purpose. Kitava has risen from whatever ethereal cesspit he's been hiding in for the last few millennia. So what let the cats out of their proverbial bags? I'm a scholar, not a prophet. Yet there's one occurrence that... You really don't have a strong grip on cause and effect, do you? Things replace other things. It's the most fundamental of laws. The larger the thing you remove, the bigger the rush to fill the space that's left behind. Innocence was the nexus of power in Oriath. Remove him, and something of equal or greater power was always going to take his spot. Any idiot could have predicted that Kitava was going to be that something. Unless, of course, you thought it was going to be you. Dominus adopted Chittis Cathedral as his personal laboratory. He decked it out with everything his miraculous mind could conceive of. His great work in Psalm, that which you destroyed, it all began there. Tootles.
What in damnation have you done?
You've destroyed him, and yet I hear the voice of innocence, begging for our forgiveness, asking for our help. You and I heard him the moment the High Templar fell, whispering inside my damn skull, his heart beating within my chest. Innocence protects us now, holds fast the door against the murderous tide that rushes to meet us. He wants you to pass through that door, to bring order to the chaos beyond. I don't understand any of this. Moments ago, I was just a soldier obeying his High Templar, Bannon the Nobody. Now, my God lays inside my head, telling me to let you through that door and to make my way to Overseer's Tower, if it still stands. It does? All right. I don't know what's waiting for you out there, but should you survive it, I'll see you at Overseer's Tower.